Listen to me very carefully. Talent is great. Resources are great. Connections are great. But none of it means anything if you're not willing to put in the work. Some of you are waiting for the perfect moment, the perfect opportunity, the perfect situation. But let me tell you something. Those who win, those who rise, those who make history are the ones who decide. I will outwork everyone in the room. I wasn't the smartest. I wasn't the most talented. I didn't have the most resources, but I made up my mind that nobody, and I mean nobody, was going to wake up earlier than me, stay up later than me, or grind harder than me. That's why I'm here today, and that's why you can be next. Consistency creates separation. And if you don't understand that, you'll always wonder why people who are not smarter than you, not more talented than you, not even more connected than you, are ahead of you. Let me break it down. It's not about what you do once in a while. It's about what you do day after day, week after week, year after year. That's where the gap is created. That's where the separation happens. See, anyone can give a good performance one day. Anyone can study hard for 1 week. Anyone can go to the gym for a month. But consistency is when you make it a lifestyle, when it becomes who you are, not just something you do. That's when the average person who keeps stopping and starting gets left behind, while the consistent one keeps climbing higher and higher and higher. The truth is most people quit too early. They don't lose because they're incapable. They lose because they can't keep showing up long enough to see the results. They want instant gratification. They want to put in 1 week of work and see a lifetime of reward. But success doesn't work like that. Success is slow, it's steady, it's brick by brick. Every day you lay another brick. And over time, those bricks turn into a wall. That wall becomes a building, and that building becomes an empire. Consistency is the act of laying that brick even when you don't feel like it, even when you're tired, even when you're discouraged. That's how you create separation. Because the people who can't stay consistent, they'll always be starting over while you'll be stacking bricks. Let's talk about why consistency separates. Life is a marathon, not a sprint. A sprinter will come out the gate fast. They'll look amazing for a short distance, but if they can't sustain it, they get overtaken. The marathon runner paces himself, keeps moving, never stops, and eventually finishes strong. Consistency is the marathon mindset. You may not be the fastest today. You may not even be the most impressive at first. But if you keep going and everyone else stops, guess what? You pass them. That's the separation. It's not always about speed. It's about endurance. Can you endure? Can you show up daily when everyone else disappears? That's the secret. People often think separation happens in public, but it doesn't. Separation happens in private. Separation is created when you choose to practice after everyone else has gone home. When you choose to study after your friends have turned off the lights. When you choose to grind quietly, with no audience, no walls. Then when the spotlight comes, everyone wonders, how did you get so far ahead? They don't realize the gap wasn't created on the big stage. It was created in the hidden hours when you refuse to break consistency. Consistency is boring. It's repetitive. It's unglamorous. But that's exactly why it's powerful. Because most people don't have the patience for boring. They want excitement, they want variety, they want quick wins. And when they get bored, they quit. That's when you win. By staying consistent in the boring, you gain what others lose in their inconsistency. Look at athletes again. The greats aren't just great because of talent. They're great because of how consistently they train. Anybody can hit the gym hard once a week, but the champion is in the gym every single day. Anybody can study the playbook before a big game, but the champion studies it every night, not just when the spotlight is coming. That separation is built through small daily habits. The difference between ordinary and extraordinary isn't one giant leap. It's the accumulation of small, consistent steps. A drop of water doesn't cut through rock in a day, but drop after drop after drop over time creates a hole in solid stone. That's what consistency does. It wears down obstacles. It creates breakthroughs that raw effort alone cannot. Consistency creates trust, too. Think about it. You trust the sun to rise every morning. You trust the seasons to come. You trust the clock to keep ticking. Why? Because they're consistent. People trust those who show up regularly, not those who are unpredictable. If you're inconsistent, people don't take you seriously because they can't depend on you. But when you show up consistently, when you deliver time after time, people respect you, they rely on you, and opportunities find you. Doors open for those who are consistent because the world loves reliability. Companies don't hire you for one great interview. They hire you for consistent performance. Relationships don't thrive on one romantic gesture. They thrive on consistent effort. Your body doesn't transform because of one intense workout. It transforms because of consistent discipline. Consistency builds credibility in every area of life. Now let's talk about the mindset of consistency. It's not glamorous, and it's not always fun. Consistency requires you to fight against two enemies, boredom and doubt. Boredom whispers, why are you doing the same thing over and over again? This is tedious. Doubt whispers, this isn't working. You're wasting your time. And if you listen to those voices, you'll quit. But the consistent person knows the truth. Repetition builds mastery, and mastery creates results. You don't get stronger by lifting one time. You get stronger by lifting repeatedly. You don't become an expert by studying once. You become an expert by studying daily. Consistency is what transforms actions into habits and habits into results. And the separation is created because most people will never endure boredom or push through doubt long enough to see those results. Separation also happens in compound. You've probably heard of compound interest, right? Where your money grows not just on what you put in, but on what it has already earned. Consistency works the same way. Every day you put in effort, you're not just working on that day. You're stacking on top of everything you've already built. And over time, the growth becomes exponential. That's why you see some people suddenly explode with success. It looks sudden, but it wasn't. It was years of consistent work that compounded until it became visible. In contrast, the inconsistent person never compounds anything. They work a little, stop, lose momentum, and start over. It's like digging 5 different holes, 1 foot deep, instead of digging one hole 50 feet deep. The consistent person finds water. The inconsistent one is exhausted with nothing to show. Let me give you an example you can feel. Imagine 2 runners. One runs 5 miles every single day. The other runs 15 miles one day, then nothing for the next 4 days. Then maybe another 10, then another long break. At first, the second runner looks impressive because of those big bursts. But after a month, who do you think is ahead? The one running 5 miles consistently. Because while the other runner was stopping and starting, the consistent runner never broke stride. That's the separation. And after a year, the gap is massive. It's not even close anymore. That's what life looks like. People who go hard sometimes versus people who go steady always. The steady always wins long term. And listen, consistency doesn't mean perfection. Some people get discouraged because they think consistency means never missing, never failing. No, consistency means you get back on track quickly when you fall off. It means if you miss one day, you don't miss 2. If you slip, you don't stay down, stay down. Consistency is about averages. If 90 out of 100 days you show up, you're still going to separate yourself from the crowd because most people won't even make it 30 days straight. So stop beating yourself up about small failure. Just don't let them break your pattern. Success is not built on never failing. It's built on always coming back. Here's the reality. Consistency is boring in the moment, but it's brilliant in the results. It's small in the daily grind, but it's massive when it compounds over years. And if you want to separate yourself, you have to embrace that. While everyone else is chasing shortcuts, hacks, and quick fixes, you build consistency because at the end of the day, shortcuts fade, hacks expire, and quick fixes collapse. But consistency is forever. It's the only strategy guaranteed to create separation that nobody can take away from you. So make up your mind right now. I will be consistent. I will show up daily. I will do what others won't do regularly. And if I do that, I will create separation so wide that nobody can catch me. Not because I'm more talented, not because I'm more gifted, but because I was consistent when they weren't. And that right there is how consistency creates separation. Sacrifice now, shine later. That's the formula, and there's no way around it. Too many people want to shine without the sacrifice. They want the spotlight without the struggle. They want the reward without the work. But let me tell you the truth. Every person you admire, every success story you read, every champion you look up to, They all have one thing in common. They sacrificed something in the present so they could have more in the future. You cannot have both at the same time. You can't have comfort now and greatness later. You can't enjoy all the pleasures of the moment and expect to rise above the rest tomorrow. Life will make you choose. And those who choose sacrifice now, they're the ones who get to shine later. The problem is we live in a generation that wants everything fast. Fast food, fast money, fast success. People don't want to plant seeds. They want to eat fruit immediately. But here's the truth about life. If you eat your seeds now, you'll starve later. Sacrifice is planting seeds that you can't eat today. But if you water them, nurture them, and wait, one day they turn into trees that feed you for a lifetime. But if you're so greedy for the now, if you're so desperate to enjoy every little thing in a moment, you'll never have anything last. You'll never have anything lasting. Sacrifice is hard, but it's the bridge to everything worth having. Think about athletes again. The ones you watch on the big screen, the ones holding trophies and medals, you see them shining. But what you don't see are the nights they gave up sleep, the mornings they woke up before the sun, the parties they missed, the comfort they left behind. That's the sacrifice. You can't party every weekend and expect to be a champion. You can't waste your time scrolling, gossiping, playing games, and then wonder why someone else is ahead of you. They sacrificed those distractions. They gave up temporary fun for long-term glory. Sacrifice is the price you pay up front for the life you want later. The problem is sacrifice feels like loss. When you sacrifice, you're letting go of something, and it hurts. You feel like you're missing out. But here's the trick. You're not losing, you're investing. Every sacrifice is an investment in your future self. When you say no to comfort, you're saying yes to strength. When you say no to distraction, you're saying yes to focus. When you say no to wasting money, you're saying yes to financial freedom. It's not about deprivation, it's about exchange. You're trading something small now for something great later. That's why the people who understand sacrifice don't complain about it. They know they're not losing. They're preparing. Look at education. Students who sacrifice nights out, who sacrifice wasting hours on entertainment, they graduate with honors. They open doors. Others can't open. Look at business owners, entrepreneurs who sacrifice sleep, who sacrifice vacations, who sacrifice comfort in the beginning. They build empires later. Even in relationships, sacrifice is the foundation. A strong marriage, a strong family, it doesn't happen by accidents. It's built on sacrifice, sacrificing selfish desires, sacrificing time for each other, sacrificing convenience to show love and commitment. Sacrifice is the proof that you want something badly enough. But here's the thing, you don't get to choose to shine without the sacrifice. You skip the sacrifice, you skip the shine. It's as simple as that. You can take the easy road now, but it leads to hardship later. Or you can take the hard road now, and it leads to reward later. Most people choose the easy road, and that's why most people live average. They don't want to pay the price. They want discounts, shortcuts, hacks. But there are no shortcuts to greatness. There's only sacrifice. And if you don't sacrifice for what you want will become the sacrifice. Sacrifice now means discipline in your schedule. It means waking up when you don't feel like. It means putting in hours when your friends are resting. It means putting money aside when everyone else is spending. It means saying no when everybody else is saying yes. That's hard. That's lonely. That's uncomfortable. But let me ask you this. Do you want temporary comfort or permanent regret? Because that's the choice. Comfort now brings regret later. Sacrifice now brings pride later. You decide which one you want to carry. There's a principle I've learned. The pain of discipline is temporary, but the pain of regret lasts forever. Sacrifice hurts in the moment, but it pays off. Regret never goes away. 10 years from now, you won't regret the nights you sacrificed to grind. You won't regret the sleep you lost, chasing your dream. You won't regret the comforts you let go of. You'll regret the opportunities you missed, the goals you abandoned, the dreams you never chased because you chose comfort instead of sacrifice. Sacrifice hurts now, but regret hurts forever. If you understand that, you'll embrace sacrifice with open arms. Let's get practical. Sacrifice could mean giving up sleep so you can work on your goals before the world wakes up. Sacrifice could mean cutting down on entertainment to invest that time in building your skills. Sacrifice could mean not buying the latest gadget so you can save and invest in your future. Sacrifice could mean staying disciplined in the gym when your body is screaming to stop. It doesn't look glamorous, and nobody claps for you when you're sacrificing. But to shine later, oh, everybody sees that. Everybody notices the results. And by then, the sacrifice feels small compared to the reward. Here's what makes sacrifice so powerful. It's the great equalizer. Not everyone is born with the same talent. Not everyone has the same resources, but everyone can sacrifice. You might not have the connection someone else has, but you can sacrifice more time. You might not have the same level of skill yet, but you can sacrifice more comfort to practice. Sacrifice levels the playing field because it's about willpower, not luck. The one who sacrifices most often rises above the one who relies only on talent. Sacrifice makes the impossible possible. And don't forget, sacrifice is not forever. It's not about giving up everything permanently. It's about delaying gratification, pushing off temporary enjoyment so you can build a future where you can enjoy more with freedom and without stress. The student who sacrifices their weekend studying doesn't stay locked in books forever. They graduate and build a life they dreamed of. A life they dreamed of. The entrepreneur who sacrifices vacations in the early years doesn't sacrifice forever. They build a business that allows them to vacation whenever they want. Sacrifice is temporary, but the shine is permanent. If you can endure the short-term pain, you unlock long-term gain. The truth is, not everyone is willing to pay that price. That's good news for you. Because if you are, you instantly separate yourself from the majority. Most people won't sacrifice, so the moment you do, you're ahead. Most people want comfort now, so the moment you embrace discomfort, you're building an edge. Sacrifice is rare, but that's why the rewards of it are so great. While others sleep, you work. While others waste, you save. While others play, you grind. And later, when they wonder why they don't have what you have, the answer is simple. You sacrifice now, so you can shine later. So don't run from sacrifice. Don't complain about it. Don't act like you're being punished. Embrace it, because it's the path to everything you want. Remember, there's no glory without sacrifice, no crown without a cross, no shine without struggle. If you want to shine later, the price is paid in sacrifice today. And when you understand that, when you live by that, you'll stop asking, why is it so hard? And you'll start saying, this is the price, and I'm willing to pay it. And one day, when the shine comes, when the door is open, when the reward is in your hands, you'll know it was worth every single sacrifice. Wake up hungry every single day before your feet hit the floor, before you grab your phone, before you check what the world is doing. You got to remind yourself why you started. You got to wake up with that fire inside, that hunger that says, I'm not satisfied, I'm not done yet. Hunger is what separates the good from the great, the average from the elite. Talent can get tired, motivation can fade, but hunger, real hunger, doesn't go away. It keeps you moving when your body wants to stop, when your mind starts making excuses. Hunger is that inner drive that says, I want more out of life. I refuse to settle. The truth is, most people aren't hungry anymore. They're full of comfort. They're full of excuses. They're full of distractions. They've lost that hunger they had when they first started. Remember when you were broke, when you were struggling, when you had nothing to lose? You were hungry then. You didn't care what it took. You were willing to grind, to sacrifice, to learn. But once people get a little success, once they get a paycheck, once they get a comfortable spot, they lose that hunger. They stop chasing greatness and start protecting mediocrity. But hunger isn't something you have once and forget. Hunger is something you renew every single day. You wake up and decide, I'm still starving for more. Hunger doesn't mean greed. It's not about wanting more money, more fame, more attention. Hunger means never becoming complacent. It means understanding that no matter how far you come, there's still another level you can reach. Hunger means refusing to let yesterday's success make you lazy today. Because the moment you think you've made it, you start to lose it. The moment you get full, your drive fades. The truly hungry person never gets full, not because they're ungrateful, but because they know there's always more potential inside them waiting to be unlocked. Hunger is about growth. It's about evolution. It's about refusing to stay the same. Think about the lion. The lion is called the king of the jungle for a reason. Not because he's the fastest, not because he's the biggest, Well, because he's the hungriest. Every day he wakes up with one mission. He doesn't hunt because he's starving to death every single time. He hunts because it's in his nature. He knows if he doesn't stay hungry, he doesn't stay king. And that's how you gotta live. You gotta wake up with that mindset. If I wanna stay at the top, I gotta keep moving like I'm at the bottom. Hunger is what keeps you sharp. It keeps you humble. It keeps you dangerous. When you're hungry, you stop making excuses. You stop saying, I'm tired. You stop saying, I'll do it tomorrow. You stop waiting for perfect conditions. Hungry people find a way. Hungry people don't wait for doors to open. They build their own doors. They don't wait for opportunities. They create them. That's why hunger is more powerful than talent. You can have all the gifts in the world, but if you're not hungry, they'll die with you. The graveyard is full of people who had talent, but no hunger to use it. It's full of dreams that never came to life because someone got comfortable. Hunger is what turns potential into purpose, and purpose into power. You can see hunger in someone's eyes. You can hear it in their voice. You can feel it in their energy. Hungry people move differently. They don't complain. They don't quit. They don't waste time. They wake up early. They stay up late. They push when it hurts. They understand that life doesn't give you what you want. It gives you what you're willing to work for. Hunger gives you the courage to go after it again and again, even after failure. Because when you're hungry, failure doesn't stop you, it fuels you. You say, that didn't work, but I'm coming back stronger. I'm coming back smarter. I'm coming back hungrier. The dangerous part about losing hunger is that you stop growing without even realizing it. You think you're maintaining, but in reality, you're declining. The world is moving forward. Your competition is getting better. New challenges are coming. And if you're not hungry, you're getting left behind. Hunger keeps you evolving. It forces you to learn new skills, adapt to change, and keep striving. The person who stays hungry never gets left behind because they're always chasing progress, not comfort. Hunger makes you uncomfortable, but that discomfort is the birthplace of greatness. When you wake up hungry, you don't need anyone to motivate you. You don't need a pat on the back. You don't need someone to tell you a good job. You're self-driven. You're fueled by your vision. Hungry people are internally motivated. They don't depend on praise or rewards to keep going. They're addicted to the process. The hunger to improve, to become better than they were yesterday, keeps them alive. You can't teach that hunger. You can't give it to someone. You gotta want it for yourself. You gotta wake up and remind yourself of your why you started, what you're chasing, who you're doing it for. Because when your why is strong, your hunger stays alive. You gotta protect your hunger too. Be careful who you hang around because hunger is contagious, but so is laziness. If you hang around people who are satisfied, who are full, who don't wanna grow, you'll lose your fire. But if you surround yourself with people who are hungry, who are chasing dreams, who are pushing limits, your hunger grows. Energy transfers. That's why you gotta be intentional about your circle. If you're the most driven person in the room, you're in the wrong room. Get around people who challenge you, who make you uncomfortable, who remind you that there's more to do, more to learn, more to give. That's how you keep your hunger alive. Hunger also means gratitude in action. When you're truly hungry, it's because you recognize the opportunity you have. You're grateful for the chance to wake up and work, grateful for the gift of life, grateful that you still have breath in your lungs. Hunger says, I've been given another day and I refuse to waste it. It's not about complaining about how far you still have to go. It's about being thankful that you still get to go. People who are ungrateful lose their hunger fast because they take everything for granted. But when you realize how blessed you are to even have the chance to try, you attack life with hunger every single day. And don't get it twisted. Hunger doesn't mean restlessness or impatience. Hunger doesn't mean chasing everything at once. Hunger means being focused, locked in, and relentless about your purpose. It means you wake up every day with intentional energy. You're not just busy, you're productive. You're not just moving, you're moving with direction. Hunger without focus is wasted energy. True hunger is discipline. It knows what it wants and goes after it with everything it has. When you're hungry, obstacles don't intimidate you. They excite you because you know that every challenge is an opportunity to grow. Hungry people don't look for easy, they look for better. They understand that pressure builds diamonds. They embrace the grind. And when others are complaining about how hard it is, hungry people are saying, good. That means fewer people will make it, and I'll be one of the few who does. That's the mindset you've got to have. You've got to love the grind, love the work, love the climb. Because if you don't love the process, you'll never make it to the top. When you wake up hungry, you live with urgency. You stop wasting days. You stop saying a someday. You realize that time is limited, that every sunrise is a gift, that every day you waste is one you'll never get back. Hunger keeps you aware that tomorrow isn't promised. So you've got to give everything you've got today. No holding back, no waiting for motivation. No waiting for the right time. The right time is now because hunger doesn't wait. Hunger acts. Hunger moves. So ask yourself every morning, am I waking up hungry? Am I chasing my goals like my life depends on it? Or have I gotten comfortable? Have I gotten satisfied? Because the difference between those who succeed and those who stay stuck is simple. The successful wake up hungry every single day. They don't let their past success make them soft. They keep their fire alive, and that's why they keep winning. At the end of the day, hunger is the ultimate fuel. You can't fake it, and you can't borrow it. Either you have it or you build it by reminding yourself of your purpose. Hunger will push you past limits. It will make you do things you never thought you could do, and it will take you to places you never imagined. So every morning, before anything else, feed your hunger. Feed it with your dreams, feed it with your goals, feed it with your wallet, and never ever let it die. Because when you wake up hungry, you don't just survive, you dominate, you survive, you down. Consistency beats talent every single time. You can be the most talented person in the room, but if you're not consistent, your talent means nothing. You can have the best ideas, the biggest dreams, and the greatest potential, but without consistency, you'll never see results. Consistency is the secret ingredient that separates those who wish from those who win. It's not about doing something great once. It's about doing the right thing. Day after day, even when nobody's watching, even when you're tired, even when it feels like it's not working. Consistency builds habits. Habits build character. Character builds destiny. If you can stay consistent long enough, success has no choice but to show up. People love to talk about motivation. They want to feel fired up, inspired, ready to conquer the world. But motivation fades. You can't rely on emotion to carry you. Some days you'll wake up ready to go, and other days you'll wake up with no energy, no drive. That's where consistency comes in. Consistency doesn't depend on how you feel. It's about commitment. Saying, I don't care if I feel like it or not, I'm doing it anyway. That's where greatness lives, not in moments of hype, but in moments of discipline. The person who works every day, even when they don't want to, will always outperform the one who only works when it's convenient. Look at anyone who's achieved something extraordinary. Athletes, artists, entrepreneurs, scholars, they all master consistency. The basketball player who hits thousands of free throws daily. The writer who writes a page every single morning. The business owner who shows up to build even when sales are down. That's consistency. You can't fake it. It's not glamorous. It's not exciting most of the time, but it's powerful. It's the grind that nobody sees. It's the repetition, the practice, the small steps that add up over time. That's why so many people fail. They want instant results. They quit too soon. They get bored with the process. But consistency is the process. You don't get results because you tried hard once. You get results because you didn't stop trying. When you're consistent, you start to build momentum. Momentum is like a snowball. It starts small, but every time you stay consistent, every time you push a little further, it grows. Before you know it, that small action you kept repeating turns into unstoppable force. But if you stop, the momentum dies and you have to start all over again. That's why people feel stuck. They work hard for a few weeks, then they stop. They eat healthy for a month, then they quit. They study for a while, then get distracted. Consistency isn't about going hard for a short burst. It's about staying steady for a long time. You don't need perfection. You just need persistence. Consistency also builds trust. Yourself. Every time you follow through on what you said you do, you strengthen your confidence. You start believing in yourself. But every time you break your promises to yourself, you weaken that trust. You teach yourself that your word doesn't mean much. And that's dangerous because when you stop trusting yourself, you stop pushing yourself. Consistency restores that trust. When you show up every day, even in small ways, you prove to yourself that you're dependable, that you're committed, that you're serious. And once you believe that, there's nothing you can't achieve. Let me tell you something. It's not the big wins that change your life. It's the small, consistent actions that build up over time. You don't get fit by going to the gym once. You get fit by going consistently. You don't become a millionaire from one big deal. You build wealth through consistent effort, saving, investing, and learning. You don't master a skill overnight. You master it through consistent practice. Success is built on boring repetition. The daily habits, the routines, the early mornings, the late nights, those are the bricks that build the wall of greatness. Consistency turns ordinary into extraordinary. The hard part about consistency is that it's not exciting. It's not flashy. It's not something people will praise you for every day. Nobody claps when you wake up early to study. Nobody congratulates you for showing up to the gym again. Nobody celebrates your quiet work behind the scenes. But later, when you win, everyone claps. Everyone admires your success. They call you lucky. But you'll know it wasn't luck. It was consistency. You earned every bit of that shine because you stayed the course when nobody was watching. That's what separates champions from the rest. Champions are consistent when others quit. The truth is, consistency requires patience. You have to trust the process even when you don't see results right away. You might be putting in work every day and it looks like nothing is changing. That's where most people give up. But what they don't realize is that growth happens beneath the surface. Just like a seed, you plant it and water it daily, but you don't see anything for a while. That doesn't mean nothing's happening. The roots are growing, getting stronger, preparing to break through. That's what consistency does. It builds strength underground. Then one day, the breakthrough happens and everyone else sees the tree. But you know how long you watered the soil before it grew. Consistency also keeps you sharp. When you show up daily, you improve without even realizing it. Every repetition makes you better. Every effort compounds. You might not feel like you get anywhere, but if you look back after months of consistency, you'll see massive growth. The key is to keep going long enough to see that progress. Consistency doesn't demand perfection. It demands persistence. Even if you mess up, even if you fall, get back up and keep going. Missing one day doesn't destroy consistency. Quitting does. It's about progress, not perfection. Sometimes consistency means saying no to distractions, to excuses, to comfort. You'll be tempted to take breaks that turn into weeks off. You'll be tempted to skip days because one day won't hurt. But that's how habits break. The moment you make exceptions, you lose momentum. You have to guard your consistency like your life depends on it. Because in a way it does. Your future depends on it. The life you want depends on it. Every day you stay consistent, you move closer to your goal. Even if it's just an inch, those inches add up. That's how you outwork everyone. You stay consistent when they don't. And let me remind you, consistency is not just about working hard. It's about working smart too. It's not enough to just keep repeating the same mistakes. You have to learn, adjust, and improve as you stay consistent. Consistency without growth is stagnation. So while you show up daily, make sure you're also learning daily. Reflect on your progress, tweak your approach, find better ways to execute. That's how consistency becomes mastery. You can't control talent, but you can control effort. And effort applied consistently over time always wins. If you ever doubt whether consistency is worth it, just look at nature. The sun rises every day without fail. The waves hit the shore every second without stopping. The seasons change on time every year. Nature is consistent, and because of that, it thrives. Imagine if the sun said, I don't feel like rising today. The world would fall apart. That's how your life works too. When you're consistent, your world stays in order. When you stop, everything starts to crumble. Consistency is the rhythm of success. It keeps your life moving forward no matter how slow it seems. Consistency is also contagious. When people around you see how disciplined and committed you are, it inspires them. Your consistency sets a standard. It makes people take you seriously. It builds respect. People might not understand your grind at first, but eventually they'll admire it. They'll see your results and realize that consistency is the real magic. You won't have to talk about your dedication. Your results will speak for you. So stop waiting for the perfect moment. Stop waiting to feel ready. Just start and stay consistent. You don't need to be the best right now. You just need to show up every day and do your best. The small wins add up. The daily discipline turns into big victories. Consistency will take you where talent alone can't. Talent might give you a head start, but consistency keeps you in the race. Talent can fade, motivation can fade, but consistency will carry you to the finish line. You might not see the results today or tomorrow, but keep showing up, because one day, all that consistent effort will pay off in ways you couldn't imagine. You'll look back and realize that while others quit, you kept going. While others got distracted, you stayed focused. While others waited for the right time, you created it. That's how you win. That's how you outwork everyone. Not through one great effort, but through 1,000 small ones done consistently over time. So, whatever you're chasing, your dream, your goal, your calling, stay consistent. Be the one who shows up day after day. Be the one who keeps swinging even when you miss. Be the one who refuses to quit. Because in the end, it's not the loudest, the flashiest, or the most talented who succeed. It's the most consistent. Keep grinding, keep believing, keep showing up. Because when you master consistency, you don't just build success. You build unstoppable momentum that no one can take from you. Discipline is doing what you said you would do long after the feeling has left. It's easy to start something when you're excited. It's easy to set goals when you're motivated, when the music's loud, when everyone's clapping for you. But what about the days when you don't feel like it? What about the mornings when you're tired, when nothing's going right, when no one is watching? That's when discipline matters. Discipline is not about emotion. It's about decision. It's about making a choice to follow through no matter how you feel. And the truth is, if you can master discipline, you can master anything. Discipline is the difference between wanting something and actually getting it. Everyone wants success. Everyone wants to win. Everyone wants a better life, but not everyone is willing to be disciplined enough to earn it. Discipline means saying no when your body says yes. It means controlling your impulses, your laziness, your distraction. It's about structure, control, and commitment. Discipline is your best friend when motivation disappears, because motivation will fade, but discipline will keep you moving. You don't rise to the level of your dream. You fall to the level of your discipline. When you're disciplined, you build power. You take control over yourself, over your habits, over your time. You stop letting the world dictate what you do, and you start dictating your own outcomes. That's freedom. That comes from responsibility. Most people confuse freedom with doing whatever they want, but that's not freedom. That's chaos. True freedom comes from discipline, because discipline gives you control. It gives you the ability to say, I will do this no matter what. That's power most people will never experience. Discipline is what turns your goals into reality. You can set the biggest goals in the world, but without discipline, they're just dreams. Goals need consistency, needs discipline. Every big success you see in life was built on a foundation of small, disciplined actions repeated daily. The athlete who becomes a champion didn't just train hard once. They trained hard every day, even when they didn't feel like it. The entrepreneur who builds a business didn't just have one good idea. They executed discipline day in and day out, even through failure. Discipline creates momentum, and momentum creates success. But let's be real. Discipline is not fun. It's not glamorous. It's not supposed to be. It's work. It's doing the uncomfortable. It's choosing the hard path when the easy one is right in front of you. That's why most people don't have it. They want the rewards of discipline without the responsibility of it. But discipline doesn't work like that. You have to earn it. You have to train it. Just like a muscle, discipline grows when you use it. The more you practice it, the stronger it gets. Every time you push yourself to do something hard, you're strengthening your self-control. Every time you choose to grind over comfort, you're building mental toughness. And make no mistake, discipline is mental warfare. Your mind will tell you to quit, to rest, to give up, to do it tomorrow. It will convince you that you deserve a break, that you've done enough. That's the voice you have to fight. Discipline means saying, oh, not yet. I'm not done. Discipline is doing what needs to be done, especially when you don't feel like doing it. You think discipline is about punishment, but it's really about freedom. It's about freeing yourself from the control of your emotions and impulses. Once you can control yourself, no one else can control you. Discipline separates the amateurs from the professionals. An amateur works when they feel like it. A professional works regardless. The amateur looks for inspiration. The professional relies on routine. The amateur gets distracted by excuse seed. The professional stays focused on execution. Discipline is what makes you reliable. It's what makes people trust you, what makes results predictable. You can't be great if you're inconsistent, and you can't be consistent if you're not disciplined. Let's look at real life. Think about soldiers, athletes, and performers, the best in their fields. What do they all have in common? Discipline. They train when it's cold, when it's raining, when they're tired, when they're hurting. They don't wait for perfect conditions. They create their own standard. They don't rely on luck or emotion. They rely on their habits. Discipline is their identity. They don't ask, do I feel like it today? They say, this is what I do. That's the mindset of champions. The secret most people miss is that discipline brings confidence. When you keep your word to yourself, you build self-respect. You start to trust your own power. You walk differently, think differently, act differently. You know you'll show up because you've proven it to yourself. But when you keep breaking promises to yourself, you lose confidence. You start to doubt yourself. You become your own obstacle. Discipline restores that self-belief because it reminds you that you're in control of your destiny. You don't wait for opportunity. You prepare for it. Discipline also protects your time. Time is the most valuable thing you have, and most people waste it. They let distractions eat up their day. Social media, television, gossip, procrastination. Discipline forces you to prioritize what matters. It makes you say, this is what I need to do today, and nothing else matters until it's done. You stop wasting time, and you start investing it. And time invested with discipline always compounds into success. One of the hardest parts of discipline is saying no. No to people who want to pull you off your path. No to friends who don't share your vision. No to comfort, no to temptation. Every no you say is protecting your yates, to greatness. You can't do everything. You can't please everyone. Discipline is choosing what truly matters and cutting out everything else. It's painful at first, but it's liberating in the end. When you learn to say no to the wrong things, you create space for the right things to grow. Discipline is also about self-control in the small moments. It's not just about big goals. It's about daily choices. Waking up when your alarm goes off instead of hitting snooze. Eating healthy when it's easier. Saving money instead of spending it on things you don't need. Studying instead of scrolling. Reading instead of watching endless entertainment. Every small act of discipline is a vote for the person you want to become. You are training yourself decision by decision to be stronger, sharper, and more focused. The truth is, you will never feel like it all the time. You will get tired. You will want to quit. You will have days where you question if it's worth it. That's where discipline shines the most. Discipline doesn't need permission, motivation, or a perfect environment. It just needs you to show up. You don't need to move mountains every day. You just need to keep showing up. Keep stacking disciplined actions. Those small actions repeated over time turn into massive results. Discipline is also a reflection of your values. What you're disciplined about shows what you care about. If you're disciplined about your health, it means you value longevity. If you're disciplined about your work, it means you value success. If you're disciplined about your character, it means you value integrity. Discipline is love in action. It's the proof that you're willing to protect what matters most. And let me tell you something powerful. Discipline makes you unstoppable. When you train yourself to do what needs to be done, regardless of how you feel, you become dangerous. You become the kind of person who can't be swayed by emotion, who doesn't crumble under pressure, who doesn't stop when it gets tough. You become reliable, focused, and consistent. Discipline turns potential into performance. It turns dreams into reality. Turns ordinary people into legends. But the most beautiful thing about discipline is this. It's a choice. Every day you get to choose. You can choose comfort or growth. You can choose excuse or results. You can choose laziness or progress. Discipline is the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. And the moment you decide to cross that bridge, your entire life changes. You stop wishing and you start doing. You stop waiting and you start building. So when you wake up tomorrow, don't wait for motivation. Don't wait to feel ready. Choose discipline. Do the hard thing first. Stick to your plan. Keep your word. Push yourself past your comfort zone. Because every day you practice discipline, you're getting closer to your purpose, closer to your greatness. You're proving to yourself that you're capable of anything you set your mind to. Discipline is not punishment. It's power. It's the path to freedom, success, and peace. If you can be disciplined, nothing can stop you. The world will throw challenges, temptations, and distractions your way. But a disciplined person doesn't fold. They stay locked in. They stay focused. They stay hungry. They understand that discipline isn't just part of success. It is success. Because success is not one big decision. It's 1,000 small disciplined ones. And once you master that, you don't just change your habits, you change your life. Discipline beats talent every single time, and that's not just a catchy phrase. That's the truth that separates the successful from the average. You see, talent is a gift. Some people are born naturally gifted. They can sing, they can run, they can calculate faster, they can pick up skills without even trying. And because of that, people look at them and think us than to win. But let me tell you something. I've seen more talented people lose than I've ever seen disciplined people lose. I've seen the naturally gifted waste their gift, and I've seen ordinary men and women, people just like you, just like me, outwork, outlast, and outshine the ones everyone thought were unbeatable. The reason is simple. Discipline is not given, it's earned, and once you earn it, nobody can take it from you. Think about this. Talent might open the first door for you, but discipline is what keeps the door open. Discipline is what shows up when the applause is gone. Discipline is what keeps going. Nobody is watching, when nobody is clapping, when nobody is validating. Discipline says, I don't need someone to cheer for me. I don't need someone to remind me. I don't need someone to push me. I push myself. And that right there is the greatest advantage you can ever have. Because when you can push yourself, when you don't rely on hype or motivation or energy from other people, you become unstoppable. The talented man gets tired, he gets bored, he gets distracted. But the disciplined man, he keeps showing up, he keeps moving forward, and over time, he overtakes the one who was supposed to win easily. I remember being in classrooms where there were kids much smarter than me. They had the natural ability, they could read and understand things much faster than I could. But here's what they didn't have. They didn't have the grind. They didn't have the ability to wake up early, stay up late, and hit those books consistently. They wanted it easy. And you know what happens when you want it easy? Life gives you hard, but I wanted it bad enough to put in the work. I stayed when they left. I studied when they partied. I focused when they distracted themselves. And after years, the results show. Not because I was smarter, not because I had more talent, but because I was more disciplined. Discipline is doing what needs to be done, even when you don't feel like it. That's the difference. Talent works when it feels good. Discipline works no matter how it feels. You wake up and your body says, I'm tired. Discipline says, get up, we've got work to do. Your mind says, I don't want to do this today. Discipline says, that's not an option. You look outside and it's raining, it's cold, it's inconvenient. Talent says, oh, let's wait for tomorrow. Discipline says, oh, we're going now. And over time, those little choices, those consistent decisions to act despite how you feel, that's what builds champions. That's what builds legacies. People always talk about motivation. They say, I need to feel motivated. But here's the reality. Motivation is temporary. Discipline is permanent. Discipline is permanent. Motivation might get you started, but it won't keep you going. Discipline is the engine that drives success. When the fuel of motivation runs out, every day you're not gonna feel like it. There will be days where you're drained, days where you're discouraged, days where you don't see the results. And that's where discipline comes in. Discipline doesn't ask for your permission. It doesn't ask how you feel. It demands action. That's why it beats talent. Because talent without discipline will always self-destruct. But discipline without talent, it will still rise. Because effort, focus, and consistency will outlast raw ability every single time. Look at sports. The history books are filled with names of athletes who weren't the fastest, weren't the strongest, weren't the most naturally gifted, but they were the hardest workers. Kobe Bryant wasn't just great because of talent. Yes, he had skill, but what made him the Mamba was his discipline. The 4 a.m. workouts, the thousands of shots every single day, the obsession with details. Michael Jordan was cut from his high school team. He wasn't always the GOAT, but he became the greatest because of discipline. Even in business, the billionaires you see today, many of them weren't the smartest in their class. Some of them weren't even considered talented, but they had one thing in common: discipline to keep grinding when everyone else quit. Discipline is freedom. It might sound strange, but think about it. The disciplined man controls his habits. He doesn't let laziness control him. He doesn't let cravings control him. He doesn't let distractions control him. That's real freedom. The undisciplined man is a slave to his feelings. He eats what he feels. He does what he feels. He avoids what he feels. And at the end, his life is not in his hands. It's in the hands of his emotions. But discipline says, I control this. I decide what I do, not my feelings. That's power, that's strength. That's the edge that gives you victory. You want to outwork everyone? You can't rely on being gifted. You can't wait for opportunities to come because of your talent. You gotta train yourself to show up no matter what. You've gotta build routines that don't break just because you don't feel like it. Wake up at the time you say you wake up, not when you feel like waking up. Do the work you said you'd do, not just the work that feels good in the moment. Keep your promises to yourself, because that's what builds discipline. Every time you keep a promise, you strengthen your mind. You strengthen your willpower. Every time you break a promise, you weaken it. And eventually, it's not even about the talent anymore. It's about who can keep showing up consistently without breaking. Let me tell you something real. Talent might get you attention, but discipline will get you respect. The world doesn't just respect those who shine once. The world respects those who endure, those who remain, those who keep producing results year after year. That's what discipline does. It gives you staying power, it gives you longevity. And if you want to build something that lasts, whether it's a career, a business, a relationship, you can't depend on talent alone. You need discipline to sustain it. So here's my challenge. Stop waiting for talent to carry you. Stop telling yourself, I'm not gifted, I'm not special, I wasn't born with it. None of that matters. The question is, are you disciplined enough to show up every single day and put in the work? Because if you are, you will outwork, outlast, and outshine the talent who lack discipline. And one day, those same people who were born ahead of you will be behind you, watching you win, because you chose discipline over excuses. Discipline is not glamour, it's not flashy, it doesn't feel good in the moment, but it builds something far greater than talent ever could. It builds character, resilience, and unstoppable momentum. That's why discipline will always beat talent, and that's why, if you want to win in life, you must make discipline your best friend. Pain is temporary, but quitting lasts forever. That simple truth separates winners from everyone else. Pain is something we all face. It's part of growth, part of success, part of becoming great. You can't avoid it, you can't run from it, and you can't hide from it. Pain is the test that life uses to see how bad you really want what you say you want. Everyone says they want success, but when pain shows up, when the work gets hard, when the nights get long, when the results take time, that's when most people give up. They let the pain decide their destiny. But the ones who understand that pain is temporary, they push through it. They don't quit when it hurts. They keep moving because they know that if they endure the pain, the reward on the other side will last forever. Pain has a purpose, not there to punish you. It's there to prepare you. Every struggle, every challenge, every hardship is shaping you into the person you need to become to handle success. People want greatness, but they don't want the process that creates greatness. They want the victory without the fight. But you can't have triumph without trials. The pain you feel today is building your strength, your patience, your resilience. Pain teaches you discipline. Pain teaches you how to focus. Pain teaches you how to appreciate success when it finally comes. Without pain, you never know your limits. And without testing your limits, you never know how strong you truly are. Most people run from pain because it's uncomfortable. The body wants comfort, the mind wants ease, but growth lives in discomfort. The gym hurts, studying hurts, working long hours hurts, discipline hurts. But that's the kind of pain that builds character. When you push past pain, you earn confidence. You begin to trust yourself because you've seen yourself endure what others couldn't. The pain becomes your teacher, not your enemy. Every champion you admire, every athlete, every entrepreneur, every leader, they all learn to embrace pain. They turn pain into fuel. They used it as motivation instead of letting it be their reason to quit. Quitting, on the other hand, feels good in the moment. It gives temporary relief. You stop hurting, you stop struggling, and for a brief second, it feels peaceful. But that peace is fake, because deep down, quitting leaves a scar that never fades. The moment you quit, something inside you breaks, a piece of your belief in yourself. You start telling yourself stories like, maybe it wasn't meant for me, or is it meant for me, or maybe I wasn't good enough. But that's not true. You were good enough. You just didn't finish. Quitting replaces short-term pain with long-term regret. You'll always wonder what could have been if you had just kept going a little longer. Pain is temporary, but quitting makes that pain permanent in your memory. Pain is a signal, not a stop sign. When you feel pain, it doesn't mean stop. It means you're getting stronger. It means you're moving past the limits of comfort, and that's where progress begins. You have to learn to interpret pain differently. Most people feel pain and say, this is too much, I can't do this. But the strong ones feel pain and say, I must be getting closer. You can't grow without some level of discomfort. Every time you push through pain, you expand your capacity. You become tougher, smarter, more disciplined. Pain is the price of entry into the world of success. Nobody gets in free. Think about when you go to the gym. The first few workouts hurt. Your muscles ache, your body protests, everything in you wants to stop. But if you keep going, something amazing happens. Your muscles adapt. The pain lessens, your strength increases, and you start to see results. That's how life works. Pain is the resistance that builds your resilience. It's the weight that makes you stronger. If you stop every time it gets hard, you'll stay weak forever. But if you embrace the pain, you grow, you evolve. You unlock potential you didn't even know you had. Pain is not permanent. It has an expiration date. It will end eventually, but quitting doesn't end. When you quit, you have to live with that choice. Every time you face a new challenge, that voice in your head will remind you of the time you gave up. That's how quitting haunts people. It plans out. But when you endure pain and push through, the opposite happens. You remember your victories, you build faith in yourself. You start to believe that no matter what life throws at you, you can handle it. That belief is priceless. It gives you power over fear, over doubt, over hardship. When you decide not to quit, something changes inside you. You start to realize that pain is not the enemy, it's part of the process. Every tear, every setback, every struggle is pushing you toward your goal. Pain becomes fuel. You start using it when people doubt you, when things fall apart, when life hits hard. You don't crumble, you rise because you've been through pain before and you know how to handle it. That's the difference between those who make it and those who don't. Winners don't escape pain, they outlast it. Sometimes the pain isn't physical, it's emotional. It's the pain of disappointment, of failure, of betrayal, of waiting longer than you thought you'd have to. That kind of pain can break people, but even that pain has value. It humbles you. It teaches you empathy. It teaches you patience. It teaches you that success doesn't happen overnight. Pain refines you. It burns away the weakness, the laziness, the excuses, and leaves only strength. But that only happens if you endure it. If you quit in the middle, you never get to see what that pain was preparing you for. You can't let pain make decisions for you. Too many people let their emotions dictate their effort. The moment things get uncomfortable, they back off. But the truth is, everything you want lies on the other side of pain. Your dream career, your perfect health, your financial freedom, your success. It's all waiting for you, but pain is the door. Most people walk up to that door, knock once, and walk away because it doesn't open easily. The strong ones keep knocking. They keep pushing. They keep showing up until that door breaks open. That's how you win. You don't let pain be your excuse. You let it be your motivation. You have to make peace with pain. You have to say, I'm not afraid of the struggle. I'm not afraid of being uncomfortable. I'm not afraid to fail because failure is just feedback. Our pain is just growth in disguise. Every time you fall, you're learning something new. Every time you hurt, you're getting tougher. You have to train your mind to see pain as progress. The moment you do that, you'll stop running from it and start running through it. And when you start running through pain, you become unstoppable. Look around you. Every great story has pain in it. Every hero, every champion, every successful person has scars. Those scars tell a story of survival, of endurance, of victory. They're proof that pain didn't win. You have to earn your scars. You have to earn your story. And the only way to do that is to face pain head on. The people who quit never get their story told because they stop before the breakthrough. Your pain is your passage. It's your way to the next level. Remember this. The pain you feel today will be the strength you feel tomorrow. The struggle you're in right now is building the foundation for your future. One day you'll look back at this moment and you'll be grateful you didn't quit. You'll realize that the pain didn't break you, it built you. Every hardship you endured was preparing you for your moment to shine. You'll see that the struggle wasn't the end. It was the beginning of something greater. But that only happens if you refuse to quit. You have to be stubborn with your goals. You have to decide that no matter how much it hurts, no matter how long it takes, you won't stop until you get there. You have to remind yourself every day that pain is temporary. Tell yourself that it won't last forever. But if you give up, the regret will pain, but pride will remain. Pride in yourself, in your strength, in your perseverance. That's the reward for enduring. So the next time it hurts, don't run. Don't back down. Don't let the pain trick you into quitting. Take a deep breath. Look that pain in the face and keep moving. Because pain means progress. Pain means you're alive. You're growing, you're becoming. Pain means you're in the fight. And as long as you're in the fight, there's still hope. There's still opportunity. There's still victory waiting for you. You're stronger than you think. You've survived every bad day so far. You've made it through things that once felt impossible. Don't let a little more pain stop you now. You've come too far to quit. Push through the pain because the pain will pass. And when it does, you'll stand on the other side stronger, wiser, and ready for everything you've ever dreamed of. Pain is temporary, but quitting lasts forever. And you are not born to quit. You were born to conquer. Success isn't about who starts first. It's about who refuses to stop. Every single dream, every single goal, every single vision you've ever had depends on your ability to keep going when everyone else has decided it's too hard. You see, most people don't fail because they're not good enough. They fail because they stop. They quit when it gets uncomfortable. They give up when the results take too long. And they convince themselves that maybe it just wasn't meant to be. But the truth is, success is always reserved for those who stay in the game the longest. It's not the smartest, not the fastest, not the most talented. It's the one who refuses to quit. The one who shows up again and again, no matter how many times they get knocked down. When you refuse to stop, you build something powerful inside you. A mindset that cannot be broken by circumstances. You start to understand that every setback is not a dead end, but a detour. You stop expecting things to be easy, and you start expecting them to be worth it. And when that shift happens, you no longer see obstacles as reasons to quit, but as opportunities to grow. That's the moment you become unstoppable. Because no matter what comes your way, pain, loss, failure, rejection, you don't stop moving forward. You might slow down, you might fall, but you don't stay down. You get up again and again. Life will always test you. It's not going to hand you what you want because you said you want it. It's going to ask, how bad do you really want it? And that question's answered not with your words, but with your endurance. It's answered in the days when you don't see progress, in the moments when everything inside you says, and give up. It's answered when you keep showing up even when it feels like nothing's working. But because real success doesn't happen overnight. It's built over time, in silence, in struggle, and in persistence. Every great person you admire has one thing in common. They refuse to stop. They kept pushing when the world said it's over. Refusing to stop doesn't mean you never feel tired, never feel doubt, or never feel fear. You'll feel all of that and more. You'll question yourself. You'll have days where you want to walk away, where you'll think it's pointless. But here's what separates you from everyone else. The others listen to those thoughts, you don't. You hear them, but you keep moving anyway. That strength, that's what winners do. Winners feel the same pain everyone else feels, but they process it differently. They turn it into fuel. They take every no, every failure, every disappointment, and use it as a reason to go harder. They understand that quitting doesn't make things easier. It just guarantees you'll never reach the other side. Think about how many dreams die because people stop too soon. The book never read. The business never started. The song never sung. All because someone gave up at 90%. What they didn't realize is that success might have been right around the corner. Most people stop when it's hardest, not knowing that's exactly when they're the closest to breaking through. You see, the road to greatness is designed to weed out the weak. Life doesn't give trophies for effort. It gives rewards to those who finish. You can't win if you don't stay in the fight. You can't claim victory if you walk off the battlefield halfway through. The reward always goes to the finisher. When you refuse to stop, you begin to develop momentum. And once momentum is on your side, it becomes very hard for anything to stop you. The more you show up, the more progress you make. Even if it's small, those small wins start stacking up, and before you know it, you've come further than you ever thought possible. But that only happens if you keep moving. The hardest part is not the work itself. It's continuing to work when there's no visible payoff. That's where champions are made. That's where faith is tested. And that's where the average gets separated from the exceptional. Refusing to stop is also about believing that your dream is worth the pain. Every goal comes with a price tag, and that price is paid in persistence. The ones who succeed are the ones who decided that no matter how long it takes, no matter how much it hurts, they're willing to pay the full price. Because they understand that quitting costs even more. It costs your peace, your confidence, your self-respect. When you quit, you teach your mind that it's okay to give up when things get tough. But when you persist, you teach yourself that you're capable of enduring anything. That belief becomes your greatest strength, because once you've proven to yourself that you can survive struggle, there's nothing left in this world that can break you. Every person who has achieved greatness, whether it's in sports, business, music, or life, has faced moments where quitting would have been easier. They felt hopeless, defeated, drained. But what kept them going wasn't luck or magic. It was the decision to not stop. They chose to continue when the world turned its back. They chose to believe when no one else did. And that's what made all the difference. Because every step you take after the point of exhaustion, after the point of doubt, is a step most people would never take. That's where the victory lies, in those unseen steps. You have to understand, the path to success will not be fair. You'll face delays, detours, disappointments, and maybe even disasters. You'll question if you're good enough, if it's even worth it. But every test has a purpose. It's there to prove your commitment. Anyone can start strong. Only the committed finish strong. Quitting is easy. It's comfortable. It lets you escape the pressure. But what quitting really does is rob you of the person you are becoming through the struggle. The struggle is shaping you. The grind is building you. The pain is teaching you. And if you stop, you'll never see the person you were meant to be. You might be closer than you think. The world won't tell you when the breakthrough is coming. There's no sign that says, and keep going, you're almost there. That's why most people stop. They don't realize how close they are. Don't make that mistake. Keep moving, even when you can't see the finish line. And every step forward is one step closer to your breakthrough, even if it feels like you're walking in circles. The universe rewards those who stay in motion. The moment you stop, the energy dies. But if you keep going, eventually the doors will open, the opportunities will appear, and all the effort will make sense. Refusing to stop is also about resilience, the ability to bounce back from failure. Because you will fail, you'll make mistakes, you'll face rejection, you'll lose, but that's not the end. That's part of the process. Every failure is feedback. Every rejection is redirection. Every setback is set up for a comeback. The only real failure is when you stop trying. When you refuse to stop, you turn every loss into a lesson, every pain into power. And with each challenge you overcome, you become stronger, wiser, and hungrier. That's how you build unshakable confidence, not by avoiding struggle, but by surviving it. You must learn to fall in love with the process, because the process is where the transformation happens. Success isn't just about reaching a goal. It's about who you become while chasing it. When you keep pushing, when you keep fighting, you're developing patience, perseverance, and purpose. You're learning how to control your emotions, how to lead yourself, how to trust your grind. And that's something no one can take away from you. Even if you lose everything, that inner strength remains. And with it, you can rebuild anything. One day when you reach that dream, when you finally achieve what you've been working for, you'll look back and realize that the struggle was worth it. You'll see that every sleepless night, every rejection, every failure played a part in making you who you are. The beauty of success is not just in achieving the goal, but in knowing you didn't quit when it got hard. That's the kind of victory that lasts forever. The kind that gives you peace, pride, and purpose. So no matter what happens, no matter how long it takes, no matter how hard it gets, don't stop. Keep going, crawl if you have to, rest if you must, but never quit. Because every day you choose to keep moving, you're proving to yourself that you're stronger than your excuses, tougher than your pain, and more powerful than your fears. And when you live with that mindset, there's nothing, absolutely nothing, that can stop you from achieving everything you were born to achieve. Success isn't about who starts first. It's about who refuses to stop. And if you make that decision today to never stop, to never give up, to never quit, then it's only a matter of time before the world sees your greatness.